Hello everyone, this is Krishna. Welcome to this SwiftUI series. In this first section, we will cover the basics of SwiftUI, what it is, how to get started with Xcode, how it compares to UIKit, and some core concepts that will guide us throughout this journey. By the end of this session, you will have a strong foundation to, to start building apps with SwiftUI. Now we will learn what SwiftUI is and what it is used for. So, SwiftUI is Apple's modern user interface framework introduced in 2019 year. The biggest difference from older frameworks is that it uses a declarative syntax. That means instead of telling the system step by step how to build the UI, we simply describe what the UI should look like, and SwiftUI takes care of the rest. It works across platforms like iOS, macOS, watchOS, and tvOS. So you can reuse a lot of your code. SwiftUI also comes with live previews in Xcode, so you can see changes instantly as you code. This makes building apps faster and easier with much less bipolarity compared to UIKit. To start working with SwiftUI, we need Xcode, Apple's development environment. You can download the latest version from the Mac App Store. Once installed, create a new project, choose iOS app, and make sure to select a SwiftUI interface instead of UIKit. So every SwiftUI project has two key parts: the app file, which is the entry point of your app, and the content view file, which is your first screen or main view. Before SwiftUI, Apple developers used UIKit. UIKit is imperative, meaning you have to manage everything step by step. So, creating labels, buttons, and then setting constraints to position them. It also relied heavily on storyboards and auto layouts, which could get complicated. SwiftUI, on the other hand, is a declarative and code driven. Instead of managing constraints, SwiftUI uses automatic layout systems like VStack, ZStack, HStack. So this makes the code easier, shorter, and cleaner to understand. And the best part is you can still mix SwiftUI and UIKit in the same project if needed. There are a few key concepts you will hear repeatedly in SwiftUI: views, modifiers, previews, and state management. Views. These are the building blocks of your UI. For example, text, image, button, VStack, HStack, and so on. So what is modifiers? So this let you customize your views. For example, you can change the font, color, and padding of a view. Previews. So with SwiftUI, you don't always have to run the app on a simulator. Previews let you instantly see changes right inside Xcode. State management. SwiftUI keeps your UI in sync with your data. If your data changes, the UI updates automatically. This makes building interactive apps much simpler. Now that we have covered the theory, let's switch to Xcode and actually build our first SwiftUI app step by step. Now, let's start by creating simple SwiftUI app. For creating simple SwiftUI app, we'll go to Xcode menu, select File, New, and Project. So here, select iOS tab Under iOS tab, select App and click on Next. So here I have given project name as sample SwiftUI and the team by default it selected my personal development team. And this is an organizational identifier which is unique to based on the development profile developer account, and each application will have a bundle identifier which is a combination of organizational identifier and product name. So, and as we discussed earlier, the interface we have to select as SwiftUI for SwiftUI project. And if you want to create UIKit project, you can select storyboard. So as we are looking into SwiftUI project, so I have selected SwiftUI here, and SwiftUI works with the Swift language, so it has been selected by default. And testing system, there is an option if you want to write unit tests and UI tests for your project, then you can select any one from the list. So this is a Xcode test framework which will be used for both unit and UI tests, and this is Swift testing with the Xcode test framework for UI tests. So right now I am selecting none as we're not focusing on test cases here. And the other option, storage. So the storage is for for local database. So if our app has any requirement to store some data locally, then Apple by default gives two types of databases. One is a core data, which is a legacy one, and the latest one, Swift data. So again here I'm selecting it as a none as we are not focusing on any storage concepts in this example. So after providing all information, click on next and select a place where you want to save your project and tap on create. So here we have the project created for us, and every SwiftUI project has a main attribute, which means with this attribute tells us a compiler that this is the main entry point of the project. So, and if you see here, our struct has inherited from app protocol. So this app protocol is nothing but app delegate in UIKit projects. So which has app lifecycle methods. We will focus more on this part in our upcoming videos. And now we can see a body property here. So the app protocol expects a body property which is with a written type of scene. So inside the body, you can see we are returning a window group, which is a type of scene. So inside window group, we can place whatever the content, whatever the views that we can show to user. So right now, by default, it has been added a content view, which we can see right here, and we'll go to the view and we'll check the views that we got it by default. So if we see here, struct content view, and it returns a view. So as we derived it from map, so our struct expects one body with some type written type of view here. So inside view, if we see, we have couple of views by default. So if we see here, one is a V stack, so which is a vertical stack which will be aligned to place views vertically one after another. So inside vertical stack, we can see an image class, image view, so which will be useful for uh, showing images to user, and text which will helps to display some text. So and here we can see like we have a globe here, globe icon, it is being displayed, and we can see right side we have a globe, and right below to this globe we can see a text with a string hello world. So and you might be surprising that you are seeing instantly the UI to right of the code. So this is with the help of this macro, preview macro. So this is the one most advantage as we discussed, like with these previews, we can instantly see how our design looks. So for example, if I comment out this part, we won't be able to see any preview of our code. So if we uncomment, we can instantly see our design. So for example, if you want to test, like I want to change this icon, so I will use it as a shift. You can see like immediately it has been changed. And if you want to change, you can notice that it changes immediately after we make changes to our code base. So for example, if I want to change my title as large title, then I can use modifier, font modifier, and add as a large title. You can see like it's immediately it supplies. And maybe if I want to have some padding on top, I can add a padding like for 20 points. You can see in between this image and this text, it added a 20 points as a padding. So this is how, like with the help of previews, we can instantly see our designs. Now we will see how to make our views interactive by adding a button. So I will add a button here. So button of, I can give button name, and we can tell like what has to be done here. Button action. So I will give some border button style. Style as, okay. Now we will try to add one state property. So at the rate state property wrapper, what it does is like, so the it will when we bind this property to a UI, so it will get updated UI automatically when there is a data change. So now we will see like how it will work. So now I will map this to our text here, and when user taps on tap me, we will change the text in message property. So now you can see when I tapped on the button, it's instantly changed. You pressed me. So for example, I will change this text, and I'm going to tap again on the button now, so you can notice how what it will be done. You can see instantly it has been changed. And you can see here like I didn't reload it or refreshed anything. I just tapped on the button and the message on the text has been changed. So that is how, like, if we use the state property wrapper, it will be used for updating UI automatically when there is a data update in the properties. Now let's compare SwiftUI with UIKit. So in UIKit, to create a label, you write multiple lines, initializing the label, setting the text, and then set the color. So first we need to initialize the label. Initializing label, then set the text, then set text color. So, but in SwiftUI, to do this, just will use a text and dot foreground color of red. We'll use a modifier foreground color. So this is what makes SwiftUI much more readable and efficient, especially for beginners or when building new projects. Now let's put together what we have learned from this example. So first of all, we have learned about a state properties. So how a state property works and how it updates the UI automatically when there is a state change in it. Then a V stack with to stack items vertically. Then an image with a location icon and a modifier for scaling image and a foreground style, and a text with modifiers for font and padding. Then at last a button with a modifier for button style and then button action which changes the state of a state variable. And at the bottom we have a preview macro and which displays the content view, and we can notice the changes in the design instantly with the help of Xcode canvas without running the simulator, which makes experimenting and designing much faster. So in this session, we built a Hello World app, added interactivity with a button and state, compared UIKit and SwiftUI, and finally explored how views, modifiers, and previews work together. With just a few lines of code, we have already built a simple functional app. In the next section, we will go deeper into SwiftUI components like text, image, and shapes to design richer user interface. If you like this video, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to my channel. Thank you for watching.